Hi, this is Linda and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of May 26th through June 1st, 2025, and I'm using the June 2025 collection from Cocoa Daisy, Mediterranean Muse. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, guys, so this is the week of May 26th through June 1st. So the last week of May going into June, and I'm going to be using the June kits from Cocoa Daisy. This is called Mediterranean Muse, and I thought that these would work really well for this spread. Although they're June themed, this week does have the first day of June, but it's really a summery kit, so it will work for these spring photos. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of lay out my photos to start what I have here. So this was kind of a quiet week at home. Not a ton was going on. I had recently come back from vacation and was just trying to get back into the swing of things. Let's see, I'm just kind of, so I have a lot of cat pictures. I have some craft pictures. I have some around the yard pictures. And then this is a photo of my friend Jen, who's on YouTube, Chappy Plans, and I'll link her in the description box below, but this is her craft room, and that's my old couch. So I sadly had to say goodbye to my couch. It was for good things, though. We were just redoing the room and making it work for our current needs, and so I loved this couch, but it really just wasn't getting any use because it just didn't work for the room for the way we wanted to use it, and it was perfect for her craft room. So if you guys don't know, she and I live locally, and so she was able to get it into her house, and she actually shared a lot about that story in her Project Life process video for the same week. So I will link that one in the description box below too if you want to check that out and see kind of the other side of the story. So but besides that, this was a really quiet week. So I have my Hobonichi cousin, and this is my weekly spread in here. And it just kind of goes through what the new things were and what kind of happened this week. I did actually forget I had a photo of this, but I didn't take it that week. So I don't think I want to print it. Maybe I do. So maybe I'm going to go ahead and go print. So now that I'm looking at this, I guess I'll talk to you guys through my process a little. So when I'm doing Project Life, I have all my photos stored on my computer in folders by week. And so I just go through them and print photos. I think about what orientation of the pages. I knew I had some 4x6 spots here, so I wanted to print this photo large. I wanted to print this one a little smaller to go in a 4x6 so I could add some journaling on it. And then the rest 3x4. So I just kind of picked from the photos from that week. But now that I'm looking at this, I realize I have some more stories that don't have photos, which happens all the time. And that's what I will add into my journaling. But here is, we reorganized the garage and put a new shelf in there. And I remember I forgot to take a photo that day when we did it. So I took it the following week, which is week in the life. And sometimes I would just go ahead and put the photo in the next week, but that one's week in the life. And I know I have a million photos, and I am going to do something a little differently in here because it's week in the life. So I think I'm going to go back to my computer and print one of those photos now, and then I will pop back on here with you guys. Okay, so through the magic of editing, I now have this photo printed. I have quite a few extra photos here because I wasn't kind of planning on having that extra photo. So I need to kind of think about how I want to maybe rearrange these. I'm thinking though that this one, yeah, I might not want any 4x6 kind of cards. Maybe, well, this one, yes, but not like a full filler as a 4x6. So we'll see. That's just a good starting layout. So I'm going to bring over my kit, and talked about this in a previous video, but I always get these kits all like a mess in this box, but that's why I like to contain them in the box here. So I'm going to go through here and pull out, here's the pocket cards, because I'm going to use that as my jumping off point to fill pockets. That doesn't mean that these are going to be the only things that I use, but yeah, I might use papers or something, but this is a good starting place. So weekly recap, well, that's perfect for Project Life. So I'm definitely going to use this card. Just want to see what's on the back. This one is cute. Might go nice next to that picture of me and Pumpkin. That's adorable, but probably doesn't fit this week. So I don't know if I want to use this one because I'm only including the 1st of June. I guess I could and just like stamp the dates above it. I kind of like that because I do like that card and I want to use it. That's a super cute quote. Love that little beach picture. So I'm thinking, what stories do I need to tell? So I definitely need to tell the story of this, which is going to need a 4x6 something. So I'm not going to pick from this stack of cards. I have my random stories from the week. And what else? I guess the garage, this needs its own like card for journaling. It's not Father's Day. And actually it could just kind of be like the multiple house things we did. And then I also did a lot of crafting this week. This one is also cute, but I don't think I need both of these. So I'm going to probably put that one in my stash for another time. Okay, so I think I'm going to need to fill these with maybe something else. We'll see. So what's in, here's the 4x6. This one is actually just a super cute filler, but I don't know that it goes with, well, it kind of does. It kind of can go with my color scheme. And I feel like I could put a photo on top of that and just like kind of embellish it. I do have a lot of cat photos. Okay, so I want to maybe put some journaling next to here about like home improvement stuff, and some journaling next to here about crafts from this week, and then something around here. So I don't see anything in these pocket cards, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be stuff that I use if in like a second pass. But let's go through what else I have. So also have papers, and I love this stamp, so I'm definitely going to use that for some of this journaling. And so I also have some stickers and things. So we've got some clear stickers, which are kind of hard to see here, but that would be a good way to kind of make my own cards. And then we've got some alphas, and this is a transparency. You don't need the octopus in this. And then we've got, these are stickers, but here are some papers. So there is always white cardstock in the kit, so I can use that as a base to create some cards. And this lemon one is really pretty. There's also this, which is very cute, but kind of goes more for like a summery thing, not necessarily the spread. I've seen that one. And then, yeah, we've got this one, which is kind of like basic pattern, which would be a good base for a story. I think I'm going to use that here, and I will add something to create journaling here. So let's crop this down. So I'm going to go ahead and create some space for words with papers. So let's see. I'm going to work on this one first because I feel like this works as a filler here with pumpkin. I don't really need anything, maybe an embellishment on that. And then this one, I need space to tell my story. So what I'm going to do is crop this paper down. So this background is 4x6. So I'm going to make this, let's see, 3. Well, that's the width of my photo. Yes, I'm going to make this 3. So, and then I'm going to make it 3 by 5. No, 3 by 5.5. Let's see how this looks. That's a little crooked because I'm not doing this well. You have to put your paper trimmer on a smooth, solid surface, not on a slippery page protector. Okay, so this is a 3x4 photo that's horizontal on top of a 4x6. So now I have this, and then I can put my photo like that. And now I have this space for journaling right here, which is perfect for what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and like adhere these together just to have this page kind of built. And then I'm also thinking I could like put some washi across the bottom here. I could add a title on here, which I think I'm gonna do that with these. I'm gonna write Jen. Okay, so I really want to write Jen's. So like with an apostrophe S, there's no apostrophes, but I'm just gonna make one. And that way I can do like Jen's craft room, Jen's new couch, something like that. So how I'm gonna make one, I'm just gonna take one of the Z's because I know I don't need 3 Z's. And I'm just gonna cut this little part off and use that as an apostrophe. There we go, Jen's. Perfect. And I think I'll stamp, I can just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna stamp crafting right there, and I'll do my journaling in this spot here once I put you guys on voiceover. Okay, so this side is pretty much designed. I'll come back when I do voiceover to kind of fill it in and embellish and do the journaling. Now I'm gonna move that out of the way. Now I need to figure out this side. So let's shift everything over. Okay, so here I have my weekly bullet list, and I have this filler card, but I need 2 additional journal cards. So I'm just gonna go through these cards again with in mind what I need. I need a journaling card to talk about the crafting and a journaling card to talk about home stuff. Okay, so I actually pulled out all of the remaining journaling cards because I just want to talk through these with you. So we have these journaling cards. There's a few of them. There's 3 here. These have space to journal. You could also use these as filler cards. I'm just going to move all of this so it's not so cluttered on my desk. You could use these as journaling cards. You could use these as filler cards. I personally would want to use this one for something about like summertime or lemonade. This one could really be anything though, and these would work well for home stuff. I could definitely use this and talk about home stuff. I think I would probably prefer this one because you have this more vertical space to add more words, whereas this one would be like a shorter text across. But I'm not sure that that's what I want to do. Okay, then I'm gonna pull these ones. Okay, so these 3 have specific prompts on them. And that's great for certain spreads. Sometimes you want a prompt. Like this one, I have a prompt, which is great because now I know what to journal about. And this is really good if you are working on Project Life and you have some space, you don't have a ton of stories to tell or a ton that happened that week. It's really fun to pull out something like the summer checklist. And then that gives you a prompt to kind of talk about and write down specific things. So when I organize my Project Life cards in my stash, I do organize journaling cards by whether or not they have a prompt and what that prompt is. So I have seasonal sections by the season. So I have a section for summer, which would include June. And so this one will go into that, and this one as well, because it is related to Father's Day, which is a holiday that falls in June. And so I would put those in there when they go in my stash, because I'm not going to be able to use them in the spread because this spread takes place mostly in May. So this won't make sense, and I don't have a dad's story for this. This one, again, I will put this in my seasonal, but I will put it in the season for, I'll put it in the seasonal for summer as well, because it is a summer checklist. I also sometimes have some prompts for, I have a section in my journaling cards for like lists where it's telling you like write out a list of things, because that's really easy to use as just a random filler card in a week. But because this one is summer themed, I will keep it with my summer cards. Okay, so there were these two, and these two have no real theme or prompt. So this one has no words at all, so you can use this for literally anything. And then this one has, it just says take note. And I could definitely use this one, and I think I might just use that one to tell the stories of home, and this one for my craft stories. That would be super simple. The other thing I was thinking of though was there's a sticker that says drop anchor where your heart feels at home. And that would work really well for home stories. And I could put it and create my own journaling card. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that just because it'll be fun to show you guys how I do that. But this one would definitely work as well. Take note could be for any type of story. So this is what I would call a general journaling card in my stash. And I would just put it in a section for general journaling cards. So when I'm not working with a kit and I am going through kind of doing something like this, and I say, okay, I know I need to tell stories about home, I will look in my specific journaling cards for ones that are prompted for home. And if there are none, I will go to my general ones, and most of them will work. Okay, let me find that white paper that I cropped down. Okay, so I'm going to build my own journaling card for here. And having this extra white cardstock in the kit is perfect for that. Of course, you could always use white cardstock from your stash. It's just easy to have it in the kit. It's just something you don't have to go dig in your stash to get anything. And the white matches because they're all created in the same facility or by the same brand. So this is, I'm assuming, the same white that they use to print the cards. So the whites are going to match, which is something that always drives me crazy when whites don't match. Okay. So what I want to do is have this sticker on here. And because this is wide, this is going to have to go down the side, and I'm going to have like a bullet list area for stories. And I want my stories to be up against there. So I'm going to put this on the right side, but it doesn't follow, it's not tall enough to be the entire edge. So I'm going to make a base for it. Now I could either do like, I was thinking I could do this vellum and just have it be like a pattern, or I could also use this anchor paper because this says drop anchor. But I think I want to use this one because I love this vellum so much. Okay, so what I need to do is just measure a strip that is the same width as the sticker. So I'm going to grab my ruler. So it's 1 1/4 about. It's slightly more, but that's okay. I can just trim it on my project to make it fit. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this and get my rolling adhesive and adhere this on here, or adhere it to my table. And it is a little too short. I did not realize it was too short. And that was just because it was a scrap and it was already cut to 3 3/4. So that's okay. I'm just going to add, I'm just going to put this towards the bottom and then cover the top part with the sticker. So I originally was thinking I was going to center the sticker, but I think I'm going to just put it at the top because my vellum's not wide enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the sticker up with this edge. And that way, to the extent it doesn't line up, I can trim it on this side. There we go. The other thing I could have done, and I think I will still do, is I could have used some of this like washi, and I will. I'm just going to use this. I'm going to cut a piece and put this right here. And if you didn't want this to be at the far top, I could have used this as a border to kind of make the vellum fill the whole thing. Or I could have just cut a piece of vellum that was big enough. Okay. Now I have a journaling card where I can add in stories of things that are going on at home. And this one will be about crafty stories. There we go. I have a full kind of base for this side along with this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you guys on voiceover, and I will go ahead and start kind of putting everything together, getting all of my journaling done, getting the cards embellished, and bringing the spread together. Okay, so this one comes together quickly from this point on because I did a lot of work in the beginning without doing voiceover to show you kind of how I came up with my base for each of my cards. I typically start with my title card because I usually have a good idea of what I want to do there, and so it's easy. And then I'm just working across the spread, putting things together. This 3x4 photo I have on this 4x6 paper. So instead of doing it fully to one side, I took advantage of the fact that it is in a 4x6 pocket and shifted the 3x4 card or photo to the side a little bit so that you could see some of the pattern paper on both sides of the photo. I'm going to layer a chipboard piece on there and then one of the word phrase strips from the Classic Cousins sticker kit, just to add a little bit of embellishment and sentiments on there, and tie together the yellow and blue that is pretty prominent in this collection. I'm working my way down on that left-hand side, and so I pulled over one of the label stickers, and this is from the stationery kit, and I'm going to use that to add a little bit of journaling onto this 3x4 photo. I wanted to just add some additional context to some of my photos with labels, and there are labels in the Classic Cousins sticker kit that I usually use for this, and I am going to use on one of the other photos, but this month the stationery kit also had some label stickers and they were kind of decorative, so I thought it'd be fun to use it on here as well. This card here, I'm just adding some journaling about Jen's craft room and her taking my couch and just kind of the story of that. I didn't take any photos of us moving the couch. Well, I shouldn't say us. I didn't really do much to help, but I was there. And so I wanted to just document that it has now made its way into her home. And in the week prior, I put a photo of this couch in its old home in my den, and now here it is in its new home. I did link her YouTube video below for this. She did a Project Life spread for the week that she picked up the couch. And so you can go head over there and watch that video to see the other side of the story, which I thought was kind of fun. I'm digging through the die cut pieces to see which ones I want to use on maybe some of these cards or photos, and also pulling out some washi tape. This photo of me and Pumpkin cuddling, I decided to add this washi across the bottom just to kind of add a little bit of something to ground my embellishments that I'm going to add on here. And then I added a die cut piece that was a label. I'm always and forever using all of the labels to add a little bit of additional journaling on here. And then I am going to add another one of those word phrase strips from the Classic Cousins sticker kit. Once I use a product from a collection in my spread, in this case, these word phrase strips, I'm going to try to find additional places to use it because it's going to tie the spread together a little bit more. So you can see here, I already have it on 3 of my cards on this left-hand side. I'm now adding that label onto this photo of my house. You can see I originally was going to do one from the stationery kit, but I decided to go with the less ornate version just to document a little bit about how the lawn is looking so great right now because we got it treated and it has been raining so much. Everything is so green, and then it got mowed this week. So I just wanted to document that I took a photo of the lawn because we have had struggles and it is looking pretty good right now, or at least during this week. I'm just going to go ahead and slip everything into the pockets now that the left-hand side is done so I can focus on the right. I typically don't do this, but I just felt kind of crowded on my desk, and it's a way to kind of move that out of the way and give myself some additional space to work here. On this journaling card that I created, I again pulled over one of the word phrase strips to add a title. And then I decided to also add some stamping to stamp the word home on here. Again, this is tying in something I did on the left-hand side where I used the same stamp set to stamp craft room for Jen's craft room. And it's just going to tie the spread together a little bit more. On this card here, I'm going to do some journaling about the home improvement things that we have done during this week. The primary one was, of course, putting together that shelf in the garage, but I added a few other things like getting rid of the couch and that type of thing. I don't even know if I added the couch on here, but there were a lot of different things that were going on. We've just been working on the house pretty consistently for the past year or so, just trying to decorate and get it all set up how we like. It's just fun. And so I added some bullet points to add those on there. And then I'm moving on to work my way down on the spread. I added a chipboard piece on that photo of a rose. And then this card here, I'm going to journal about the crafts that I am working on. I layered 2 of the circular die cuts on top of it to kind of create an embellishment. It says all the details. And then I really like this stamp that is in the stamp set. So I decided to stamp it with some black stays on to create a little bit of an arrow to point to the photo that's related to this story. And then I'm going to use the alpha stickers, again, the same ones that I used on the left-hand side of the spread. These are from the Classic Cousin sticker kit to add the title crafts. There are some stickers in the scrapbooking kit. Is almost always a set of alphas in that kit, but they are a little bit larger and they are puffy yellow ones. So I also like to mix in the Classic Cousin sticker kit in my scrapbook because you get a few different options. There's actually usually 2 alphas in that kit, I believe. And so I have this one, and then there was a smaller alpha as well. I think maybe there wasn't. I'm not sure. Go check out the website for Cocoa Daisy to see what products are included in those collections. I might be mixing it up with the July collection, which I was recently just crafting with. But I do like using the flat stickers and having the option of mixing those in with the larger puffy ones that are in the scrapbooking kit. I did my journaling there about all of the crafts I'm working on, and this week I was getting ready for Week in the Life, which was going to be the next week, and I had a photo of me holding up my Week in the Life journal that I used to document all of the crafts and things I was working on. This card here says weekly recap, and it was a perfect journaling card to add my bullet point list of the random stories that happened this week. If you are new to my channel, for Project Life, I tend to include a bullet point list card in pretty much every weekly spread to hold those little micro stories that don't necessarily have a photo or enough to fill a larger journaling card, and you just want to make note of them during the week. That is one of the things I love about Project Life, is that it's documenting those little micro stories and the types of things that you're probably not going to remember later if you don't write them down. Because I put these spreads together a little bit later than the actual week, I do reference my Hobonichi cousin, where I keep those details in notes so that I am able to recall them when I'm putting together my spread. I'm just going ahead and slipping everything in the pocket, and I'm going to call this one done. Here's a look at that completed spread. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.